Bir arkadan bir, evet. Evet doktor.
I would ask the question about the right ventricle function preoperatively, especially tricuspid regurgitation. Is the good, is the important predictor for bivet or LVET implantation? Especially, is there an algorithm for right ventricle function for protecting right ventricle failure, right atrium diameter? Right ventricle ejection fraction, what
you can use a rough algorithm, say that. It's not, we don't follow that sort of protocol because every patient is different. But the tricuspid regurgitation is an important one. Because just having tricuspid regurgitation on its own is not indication for right side support, because you might improve that function by just supporting the left side. But the size of the annulus is very important. And also, for recovery is very important. Because if you are going to have continuity, you're going to have severe tricuspid regurgitation, you might have problems with that. But if you see that the annulus of the tricuspid is very dilated, you can examine during the operation. One of my colleagues actually attended, he started repairing tricuspid valves routinely on every patient, which possibly, you don't know, if you want to know the answer, you need a randomized trial. You don't know. You can leave the tricuspid valve like that and repair it when you take when there is a recovery. So there are so many different options. But if it is very severe, possibly it is good to repair it, particularly when you examine and you find, you use the four-finger test. And then if it is very dilated, you can just put a ring there. It doesn't take long. But if you open the right atrium and the right atrium is very extended, there's always worry about bleeding from the suture line. Because the right atrium is very thin and we have that problem.
Evet, Profesör Özdoğan. Yalnız bizim mikrofon imkanımız yok, katılamıyoruz hadiseye. Teknik olay. Yani onu
I want one question for you. And the patients with mitral valve patients need the left ventricle assistance. According to your experience, each way in the inflow, the left ventricle or left ventricle arrest?
The approach for the valve patient.
Patients, mitral valve patients, need the left ventricle as device.
Which way are you using the inflow cannula, the apex or left atrium side?
I think that really the best thing is for these patients with the mitral valve to make sure that the valve remains open all the time. If you are going to use the HCO, then if you put your inflow to the left HCO, you can't guarantee that because the left ventricle fills, and these are the positive prosthetic valves, they are going to be competent and it's going to close, and that will create stasis and things like that. So it's very important that if you are going to do that, you should do the ventricle apex of the left ventricle. Make sure that the mitral valve remains open all the time to wash out all the things there and not get cluttered and also not fill and get extended. The other thing you can do obviously is like you can take the mitral valve out if the patient's going to have transplants. It doesn't make any difference. If you have a mechanical valve, you might decide to do that. But the aortic valve actually is more challenging in a way because we had last week or week before, we replaced the aortic valve with the tissue valve in a young man that developed aortic regurgitation. Because when you have aortic regurgitation, you are going to have difficulties running the pump. For that reason, it's better to replace the aortic valve with preferably with a tissue valve. In the mitral, you can leave it alone. You can leave either valve there and do apex or take mitral valve out.
Can you switch to off? Yes. Dr. Emmerich, I have a question about Salmeterol. I remember that drug, I heard it the first time in Cleveland by Dr. Mehdi Yaqub for the recovery. Is it magic?
No, it's not magic, and we have many discussions amongst that internally, because the protocol is not really just clenbuterol, it's a combination of the device, the medical therapy at enormous doses, regular testing, and then the clenbuterol. I think we don't ourselves understand the role of clenbuterol. We think it causes less failure of these patients afterwards, because it makes the ventricle more bulky and more sustainable. We have lower failure rate in other people. We think it contributes to recovery, but I don't think we ourselves know how much. Ideally, we need to randomise the entire protocol with or without. The studies in animals show a lot of benefits at cellular level, calcium handling, contraction, etc. So it makes sense. We have now in our own patients proven that it causes some physiological hypertrophy by looking at the echoes before and after. So it does seem to have some benefit if we believe in it, but I think we can't ourselves decide how we should do this. We may find out because they're just recording.
Yes, thank you. We know today ventricular devices are the most part of the heart transplantation problem. But we know the other problem is the refund, reimbursement of the system. Can you? How do you provide the reimbursement in your country? Of this? Yeah, okay.
In the UK, this is funded centrally by the National Health Service. Only bridging through transplantation, I'm talking about the long-term devices. We are allowed to use 55 devices in the country between these three centers at the moment. Not use more than 55. Obviously, if you have very big patient and needs, and I'm sure you can get permission to use more, but that's how it is funded. They are refusing to fund for destination therapy because the data that is available at the moment is not satisfying the reviewers. But main reason is that they are obviously worried that suddenly they are going to face with a very big bill. For that reason, they are holding it. They are not allowing it to use it for destination, but that is available in the United States. So we have 55 devices a year only for bridge to transplantation. But the criteria is not that sort of strict, because if the patient is not fulfilling the criteria today for transplantation, you might do that in a year's time. So you can still use it, make them transplantable in 6 months' time, for example. So that's just how we do it. And we are not really using more than that in the country. If anything, we haven't reached to the stage when we run out of money and we can't do anymore. But then there are different set up in every country. In Europe, in Germany, and France, they are very free to use as many as they can. In America, also in EMA's unit now is the current unit, and they do as many as they want. And she possibly can make a comment about only there.
Yes, we agree. We only have 35 in the UK till last year. They just increased the number, which took a lot of persuasion on our part. We tried to get them to fund destination therapy. Unfortunately, the only data they had was the old data on the old device. The new data I showed is extremely recent, and maybe we can convince them. They don't want to ask because they've gotten the financial commitment. But other countries, the Germany use a lot, and they have funding as destination therapy. The Netherlands have only funding as bridge to transplant, but they're not limited how many, so they don't really, everyone's almost theoretically transplantable. And the US has funding for destination therapy and bridge to transplant. Now the Heartbeat 2 is FDA approved. The numbers are going to be quite dramatic, but it was only FDA approved about 2 weeks ago. So it was limited to the trial.
Thank you. Evet, son soruları alacağız. Evet, Profesör Dayoğlu. Bir dakika, mikrofon gelsin efendim.
assumptions, and then we applicate the effectiveness to us. These problems were created. It is worked correctly. What's your experience?
If the patient has a minimal or trivial aortic regurgitation, you can cope. I say possibly create a problem, even in mild. But if it is severe, you create a lot of recirculation. Then you would have a very high flow of the pump. So if you are running a pump 5 liters per minute, and suddenly, it's used to happen actually with the heart rate pump, and suddenly the flow goes up to 11 liters per minute. That means that you are getting a lot of recirculation, so the leaking from the aortic and going back. But then you can't offload the heart. If you are going for recovery, then it's going to hamper that, and you are not going to achieve the same offloading. So this is obviously can cause a lot of problems. But if you know that from the beginning, it's not that difficult. You can do something about it. Even if you want to, you can close the aortic valve. But then there is a body of developing thrombus in the root, aortic root. But when it develops later, it can create quite a lot of problem. And actually, we had 1 or 2 recovery patients, I think, that would not continue. So it is, I actually don't know the incidence that MIK might know how many patients actually develop aortic incompetence. Sometimes I actually increase the speed of the device, and that's really over empty that, and that actually closes the aortic valve. Sometimes it happens, but not really. If it is disease, it doesn't really happen. Sometimes you have it.
Yes. No question, no comment. Thank you very much. I am closing the session. Thank you very much for all speakers and you. Thank you.
Ben de bu güzel, zengin, içeriği oldukça zengin programı hazırlayan sempozyum başkanımız Mehmet Emin Özdağ hocamıza ve Yakın Doğu Üniversitesi'ne ev sahipliğinden ötürü teşekkür ediyorum. Saygılarımızla sabah